my sleeves currently off. But gosh darn, at least I'm reading a bunch of books, so I'm at least proud of that, you know. So anyway, I got far behind again. So I'm just gonna catch up, I think, to today's date, and then I'll do all the other ones in a separate video, which I already had filmed the drawing part for, and I just gotta record. So instead of like making like maybe 3 videos, I'll just do 2, since they're not like questions that I'll be like blah 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 blah. Hopefully, you never know, I always have that tendency to just blah 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 blah. So anyway, I'm doing days 23 to 26 of Bethany's 31 Days of Tarot Challenge 2019. And this one, obviously, I can do an art one for because it asks you to show sex. And I have sex to show this time. I have no idea what I'm doing. So, yeah. Wait, I just realized, have I been up that long? How long have I been up for? Oh wait, it's nighttime. I was so confused. I'm like, what? No, I've only been up for 2 hours. I just, for some reason, thought it was daylight out and that it was noon. I was like, how is it noon already? No, that says AM, not PM. Duh. I was like temporarily confused. Anyway. Yeah, I overslept, so. So, what is your most sassy tarot deck? Which is your most gentle tarot deck? And why'd you pick those decks? So, generally, when I get asked, what's my most sassy tarot deck? And I have, like, a few that decks are, like, not afraid to sass me. I think, in general, cat decks I find to be pretty sassy. I think the only one that, out of my, 4 cat decks that I have that's not really that sassy is the Considerate Cat Tarot. This one comes off a little bit more gentle. It's not really sassy. But when I think sassy, I think of my first cat deck, which I find to be the most sassy. Like, I still remember when I was like, oh, you know, let me just do this fun reading, and it was like, Des, you need to exercise. And I'm like, thanks. But for me, this would be the Black Cat Tarot, and like, literally for that reason, like, since I should pull this out for next month. It's been a while. It's been a while. This is one of my older ones. I think this might have been somewhere around 5th-ish area for decks that I had gotten. And I had to pull it back out. I should pull it back out for next month. I gotta remember. Pull it out, put it on my shelf. Maybe I'll put it over here with my books and stuff so I can remember. But yeah, just cat decks in general, I've just kind of found to be just more sassy. Like, they act like cats. Like, cats are just gonna give it to you. Like, it's not really like sass, but it's more like straightforward in the way that it gets like, they're being kind of sassy though too, you know. But yeah, this is kind of just my deck that I find to be the most sassy. Although, like I said, I do have decks that are definitely not afraid to sass me and call me out. Even, like, literally, like, my favorite deck, my soul deck, you know, my Justice League Tarot has sassed me on occasion because it knows that I'm not afraid. Like, give it to me deck. Like, call me out, you know. So yeah, that's the deck that I picked for most sassy. Then for most gentle, I definitely do have some decks that tend to be more on the gentler side. The one that came to mind though was this one right here, which is the my chair moved more than I thought. Which is the Mythic Tarot. And I've heard other people, like, say, like, this one's more of a healy, gently deck. And, like, I'd have to agree. I was kind of surprised that, like, it was that one. Like, I was surprised because I didn't hear that till, like, after I got the deck. And I was like, oh, yeah, definitely. You know, like, yeah, same. Back in October, I had gotten this deck, and, which this one's the, this edition. The second printing with the second different back, which was like early 2000s. I can't remember what year, but back in October I got this deck, and I used it for one of my challenges that I was doing. So, man, I drew up a storm. I did like 3 tarot challenges on Tumblr, and for one of the challenges, I used this deck every single day for the whole challenge because I just wanted to use it, and like get to know my new deck. So yeah, the questions were well, there were a lot of questions that I skipped because I was like, you know, I think I skipped probably like 5 days maybe. But the questions were kind of more on like the gentler side. But like at the same time, the deck's voice was kind of just more on the gentler side. So yeah, like the first one that came to mind was like this one from back in October. I gotta work with this one more. This one and my other Greek one are like, and my Mythic Oracle are 3 decks that kind of just always stay out because they kind of usually go in like in the altar for like that kind of stuff. So I have a few decks that I always kind of keep out. My Justice League, my Vertigo Tarot is probably just always gonna stay out. And then there's a few decks where I'm just absolutely loving, so either they'll stay out for a while, or they might just be ones that kind of just always stay out as go-to decks. And this one is one of my 3, the Greek ones, go-to decks for like anything that kind of related. So it'll stay out. I need to like work with it more because one of the books that I read, which I'll talk about in my shelf video for the end of the month. I still have one more book to read that I'm currently reading, so I might film it before the month ends, once I finish the book, just so I can like be like, well, technically, I read this in I didn't read this in February, but you know, it's part of the February video because it was after my January video, because there's some books that I'm like, I just want to read them now. Like, why does it have to wait till the 1st of February? You know, I don't know. One of the ones I did read was, I read the guidebook, and I color code my tabs. Orange means dislike. So, yeah, I really didn't like this book. It took me forever to read, too. Like, it took me so long to get through because I just found it to be so boring. And then there was just a bunch of stuff I didn't like in it. So, yeah, I'm not going to go by the book. Man, I kind of wish that you could just see that camera. I just took the book and I just plopped it on my desk. Like, the minors were okay. I didn't have as many issues with the minors, but like, again, there's, how many orange tabs are in the minors? Okay, that's cups. Okay, so cups starts it, so 1 orange. 2, 3, 4. I still had 4 orange tabs. Which the tabs are basically me annotating in my journal, which is right here. I'll write it down, and then the page that I did it with the color, I put the tab in. But yeah, I didn't like the book. So, I like the deck though. I really like the artwork, and I like how it reads, so I'm trying not to let the book taint the deck, you know. But I really didn't like the book. The deck is very nice, and it's so nice. But yeah, those were the 2 decks that came to mind with that question. So question 24 is, what tarot card do you feel is the most misunderstood and why? Generally when I think of cards being, I don't know necessarily misunderstood's the word, but decks that are seen differently than like how I see them. And sometimes it annoys me, kind of like a little pet peeve. My nail's bothering me. Would probably be the Lovers. Which, I mean, just to the Lovers in general, everyone's, you know, if you don't read tarot, like, some people would probably just assume it's, you know, the Lovers. Where there is more, like, depth to the Lovers card, so I guess you could at least say misunderstood in that aspect. But yeah, like, literally, like, it's more than just the Lovers, and yeah, did I write anything like else specifically? Oh, I even wrote like most decks even have Lovers on it, And, like, I don't know, like, I really don't read it as lovers. If anything, I read it definitely more on the more Marseille kind of thing of, like, the lover, with the whole part of choice. And if it's the lovers, it's actually more about partnership. That was the first experience I ever had with the card, which was, like, the first tarot reading I ever got for myself, which was actually the reading that told me, bitch, you need to get into tarot. You're kind of, like, meant to do tarot. And I'm like, oh, okay, okay, you know. And then I stumbled across the Justice League Tarot, and then everything started. But, yeah, like, I just more so, I guess, just the romantic and, like, sexual, like, associations with it. Like, I can't read it like that, like, at all, like, obviously. And, like, I don't like the idea of, like, I've actually seen some people, like, not on here, like, say that, like, it's romantic. And then some people will even say, like, well, you don't have to read it like that. Like, there are more meanings, you know. And then people will be like, will yell at them and be like, well, that's how I read it. Which, there's no issue with that. I don't know, like, I've just kind of seen where it's, like, almost like it's the only meaning, and, like, you can't, like, I guess, like, almost, like, you can't be that person that's, like, literally, like, I'm your tarot book for you, and I'll give you some more meanings, like, because there's so much more to cards than just, like, one thing, you know? And then people, like, were yelling at people for even trying to expand the knowledge of the card can mean this and this, too. Just to, like, have some more in-depth meaning if, like, that doesn't resonate with you. And it was, like, annoying. It's like, could you imagine if, like, I got a reading from, like, one of those people and I didn't even realize it, and like, I don't know, it's just weird. Like, the card probably wouldn't come up because, like, they're giving me the reading, but at the same time, like, what if? I mean, the first reading I got ever, the lovers did come up. It just didn't have that connotation with it. I don't know. It's just weird, you know. But yeah, then I was thinking, kind of also sometimes with the pet peeve kind of one could be like the devil too, I guess. For like the same kind of thing as well. I don't know, like, it just, the lovers at least, with most tarot readers, I've seen at least can see it as either partnership or even the more Marseille choice, so there's at least that. And I do have some beautiful decks that show the lovers in different lights. Like, for instance, the Nicoletta Ciccoli, I love that lovers card, like, that literally, like, the whole freaking, like, Eve with the apple and the snake, like, that is just such a cool way to show the choice. Then Prismavisions, of course, it's dancing. Dancing is also in the Ostara Tarot. I like the dancers because you could see the dancing as romantic, but, like, at the same time, like, dancing doesn't necessarily have to be romantic, like, but when you're dancing, your person you're dancing with is your partner, you know, like, your dancing partner, so, like, the whole partnership is there, and you could read it as romantic or not, you know, so I always like that. I can't think of any others off the top of my head. Oh, I know, this one has, like, the kind of romantic, thing with it, but at the same time, like, I just really like that lovers card. The one from the Dragonese Inquisition one, that is, Varric's starting card, and it's him with, you know, his chest hair that everyone loves because it's a chest shot, and, he's holding Bianca in it, and Bianca, is, of course he says, no it's not, is named after, an actual, girl that he liked and likes him back, but, like, her family doesn't like him, and then she got married to someone else, and, like, she actually shows up in Inquisition, so, like, while it is, like, lovers, there is also kind of, like, the choices that they make, too. But yeah, and then even just like even just in that quest line before, so you do that one, and then there's a cutscene afterwards where you're all playing like card game, which is when Varric's card changes to the friendship card. But like even Bianca, like her choices like that she makes are like criticized for not even just being open with what'll happen during Varric's friendship quest. But yeah, I really like that one. Like that's got like some pretty interesting depth to it. But yeah, I kind of just blabbed about that question. So, question 25 is, do you have any tarot self-care rituals that are only for your personal practice? And no, I think the closest you're going to get to, like, more self-care things are probably just going to be, like, I don't know, what decks do I have just on hand? Literally all these ones over here, they're in our own bags. Like, for instance, like, something that would only be for me that could be, like, self-care is I'd be, like, you know, just straight up, like, just being, like, I don't know, am I overthinking things, you know, like, he literally card flies out. You know, just stuff like that, like, when I'm not in a good headspace, there's been a few times where, like, I've shuffled and pulled a card, and the deck will be like, here, there, there, everything will be okay. And then, like, yeah, like, for instance, there was that one time, oh, what happened? I don't remember what happened. Oh, that was when I left the discourse of my old free company. I didn't leave the guild right away because I just was tired and I just didn't feel like it for a while. I was kind of also there hoping that they'd redeem themselves. And even just to see if they'd notice that I'd left, because that's not the first time that I've left because people were just straight up ignoring me. But I was really upset that it had come to that. And I had asked the deck, and I was like, will you even notice that I'm gone? And the deck was like, yeah. And I'm like, which the deck was wrong, but at the same time, it wasn't like trying to like predict anything. It was just trying to like make me feel better. So that's only like self-care kind of thing related to decks that I've done. Which literally didn't even notice till I actually left the full-on free company. And then like when I tried ignoring them, they kept following me. Even just like what, like last month, I happened to like be standing close by the leader, and like he started like following me, and so I had to like pour it away randomly because I have him blocked. So, but yeah, that's the closest with that one. So 26 is, what tarot deck do you wish you could get into or vibe with but just can't, and why? And of course, this is not an opportunity to decorate or bash. It's more about how we all work with different decks and like different things. And I can't think of any. Because generally, if I'm not like vibing or getting into a deck, it's usually I don't want to in general. Just, yeah, I mean, like sometimes I'll like think that I never would like a deck, and then I get it because I can vibe with it. For instance, the Wild Unknown, it was, I don't know, how long did it take? That was still close to one of my first decks. I think it was at least in my my first 15 decks. But, like, for, like, months, I had no interest in that deck. I like the artwork, but, like, I wasn't like, I need this deck. Not until, like, it came on sale. And then for some reason it started vibing with me, so I got it. And I have used it, not too much though, but I have used it at least. I like the Oracle deck a little bit more, but like, yeah, like that deck started vibing with me, so I got it. If there's a deck, like, usually if I like the artwork, it's usually like vibing with me, and or at least I like it enough that I could get into it. Or even if I just like the artwork, I put it on like a list of, in my head, obviously, more of a mental like list, or I'll bookmark it and be like, oh, that deck. And then I buy them more so when I, you know, am feeling the vibes the most, I guess. When it's like ready to get into it, I'll get one deck before I'll get another one. But usually if I'm not like vibing with it or wanting to get into it, I usually just don't have an interest. I don't know, like, what did I actually write down? I had specifically said when I wrote down my answers was I can't think of any, whether it would be a specific deck or style. If I'm not vibing with a deck, there's probably something that I don't like about it. If I don't like the tool, if I don't like the look, or I'm not into the theme or something, then I could care less if I got it or not. I mean, I already have a bunch of decks, and I'm pretty open when it comes to different kinds of deck styles. Yeah, like, literally, like, I was confused. I was like, why is there an A? Is there a B? No, it was just the way that I was formatted. Like, I have, like, a bunch of different deck styles, and I like a bunch of different, like, style, like, literally, like, even just, like, one of my more recent ones, like, the one I have here, like, the style is literally cubism. I have, like, no interest in cubism, but I think the deck's really cool, and I vibe with it, so, like, you know? Or I had the, Golden Tarot of Klimt. Like, I'm not, like, crazy about, like, Gustav Klimt's artwork, but, like, I was vibing with the deck, so I got it, and, like, I can use it and get into it. So usually if I'm not vibing with it, either it's just not the right time, and, like, I personally probably don't have an interest in getting into it. I don't know, like, usually if I see a deck and I really like the artwork or something, if I'm not vibing or wanting to get into it, it's probably more so because maybe there's, like, a few cards that I just really don't like, I guess. Or maybe there's only a few cards that I think are absolutely gorgeous that I don't care about the rest of it. I don't know, I just can't really think of any decks. I guess it's just because mostly I'm just pretty open when it comes to decks. And if I don't like a deck, I don't really like it. So yeah, I can't really think. See, I guess the last 5 questions, tomorrow's, that's not a long question for me. Go to book is definitely not a long question. The modifications isn't a long one. Predictive tarot is not a long one. And the last one is like literally I wrote down 2 sentences. So those ones I could probably all get done in a single video. So I will be doing that. But yeah, this was what day was it starting? 23rd. The 23rd to today's date of the 26th of FB's 31 Days of Tarot Challenge. I did actually talk more than I thought I was going to. Partly because I overslept, so I'm kind of tired. Like, I've only been up for, like, what, 2.5 hours because I accidentally slept till, like, 10:30 p.m. Because I went to bed at around 10 a.m. I was just going to take a nap, and I slept for, like, 12 hours. My sleep's off. At least I've been getting to sleep quickly ever since I got my thought form, so, which I really loving Bedtime Bear. It was, oh crap, what was the name of the place? There's my likes. It's probably farther in my likes though, of the specific shop name on Tumblr. But they were giving out free self-care thought forms, and I signed up for one, and then a few weeks later I got my Bedtime Bear, because that's the one I chose. And they attached it to, oh, that's such a pretty deck. My likes, that's not complete yet. I was like, oh, like, why is that my likes? It's so pretty. But yeah, I had it attached to my troll doll. Which, like, it's not one of those little troll dolls, it's just a troll. It's a stuffed animal. And, oh, there it is. It's the, Lorelei of the Rin? I don't know how you pronounce that. Their shop name. But yeah, their shop is where I got my Care Bear therapy thought form. And I got bedtime there. And it's definitely helping me at least get to sleep. Which is, like, one of the big issues is just getting to sleep. So, yeah, it's definitely helping with what it was supposed to do. But anyway, yeah. I just, like, literally just started talking about, like, my cool bear. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much it. So, I'm Des from Aro-Tarot, and I'm logging off, so